Blessings. Welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Um, if there were some glitches in yesterday's video, I apologize. Hopefully I can get back and redo that one. The storms really messed up a lot of things yesterday as they pulled through. And anyway, we'll look at that later. Today we're in Ezekiel chapters 46, 47, and 48. And just, again, a really cool read. And if you read ahead, you know what I'm talking about. But in chapter 46, yesterday we spoke about the verses that were pertaining to the direction of east and how the east gate on the temple was very important. Well, in 46, we're in the inner court now. And the main gate for the inner court of the temple, the main gate faces east. No surprise. But then we get a little bit further and we realize that this gate on the east side is only opened on the Sabbaths and on one festival, the New Moon Festival, and it's open on the first day of that festival. And that's the only other time besides Sabbath that it's opened. And I kind of gleaned from this as I was reading that the prince is the only person who can go in or out this east gate, that nobody else can go in or out besides him. And I think that's where a lot of the prophetic, the king will enter through the east gate of Jerusalem, where a lot of that comes from. Then we get into chapter 47, and we go from east being just a revelatory thought of it being the main direction out of north, south, east, west. And it doesn't sound like much, but when you look at, even in the Old Testament, well, we're still in the Old Testament, but when the tribes lined up around the temple, when they were in the desert after they come out of Egypt, east is still the prominent direction. So this is a theme throughout the Bible, and we just need to keep it in the back of our minds. Okay, so we go from east to chapter 47, and we start talking about water and the significance and the symbolism of water, living water, and how this plays into all of this. But in chapter 47, verse 1, it says, water was coming out from the east side of the inner court, and it was running to the east, and it continued to run to the east, and just shooting off in that direction. Then verse 3, we see that Ezekiel is walking in this water, and 1,000, whatever measurements they're using, they've measured off 1,000 of them. And as Ezekiel walks in the water up to this measurement of 1,000 away from the east gate, the water's ankle deep. Then the next measurement of 1,000 in verse 4, it starts getting a little deeper, and it's up to his knees. The third measurement of 1,000 is up to his loins, a little below his waist. And then the fourth and final measurement of 1,000 is so deep that he can't, it said he couldn't, what was the word? He wound up swimming in it because it was so deep that he couldn't walk through it. It spoke that everywhere the water went, things were alive. Fish were alive and prospered where this water went. And it's very reminiscent of Revelation chapter 22, verse 1, where it talks about living water that flowed from the throne of God. And it was living water. The symbolism between these two, it's very similar. And anyway, it's something, if you want to study up on, start with Revelation 22, get you a commentary, and start looking at the different places where Jesus talks about himself being living water. And it's just an incredible symbolism as it runs through the Bible. In 47 verse 12, and this is kind of what I want to end with. Again, we're talking about the water, but just this verse kind of summed it all up for me. It says, by the river on its bank, on the side and on the other, will grow all kinds of trees for food. Their leaves will not wither, and their fruit will not fail. They will bear every month because their water flows from the sanctuary, and their fruit will be for food, and their leaves for healing. So this living water affects everything. We know that Jesus is our bread of life and our living water that lives within us. When we hunger and thirst for righteousness, we're hungering and thirsting for those things. Um, Psalm 1:3, you'll be a tree planted by streams of living water, where your leaf will never wither and you'll produce fruit in its seasons. But here it says they will bear fruit every month because the water flows from the sanctuary. It talks about this flowing water, and in Revelation talks about water running from the throne. Water running under the throne. The foundation of the throne is justice and righteousness. How does that play into living water and Jesus's his rule and his reign over all the earth? Just some incredible symbolism in today's read. Really cool. Tomorrow, a little bit different read. We're going to skip around again like we had been. We're going to start in Ezekiel chapter 29, and we're going to read just 4 verses, verses 17 through 21. We're going to go over to Daniel, and we're going to read chapter 4. We're going to go to Jeremiah, and we're going to read chapter 52, verses 31 through 34, just those verses. Then to 2 Kings and read chapter 25, verses 27 through 30. Again, just 3 short verses. And then we're going to go finish up with Psalm chapter 44. So lots of skipping around tomorrow, but none of them are going to be big reads. So don't fret it. It's going to be good. We're going to come back here and we're going to have some great takeaways. In the meantime, you guys be safe.